Hello, this is English Digest. I'm Seb.
And I'm Sam.
And today we're looking at some topic-based writing, specifically some writing that is all about the subjunctive mood, or as I like to call it, the what-ifs. That's right, this is a voice that we use to talk about the things we're imagining or that could have been. We'll get into how to use this in a minute, but first, Sam, what are some what-ifs that you often think about? Is there anything that you, like, what if you'd studied a different major, or what if you'd lived in a different country? What are the what-ifs that you think about?
今天的主题写作很特别哦，这个主题一点都不简单，它是呢我们英文里面的假设语气。比方说呢，假如我那时候有努力完成双主修啊，假设我那时候搬到其他国家去住，这些呢，假如就是我们的假设语气了。So I've always been thinking about what if I had kids when I was like 20?Mm-hmm. Yeah, they would be in elementary school by now.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be nice. I'd be a young dad and yeah.
It's a lot to think about, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I think about that sometimes too. You know, my mum got married when she was 24, so I would have been married for 2 years now if I was my mum, and I would be having a kid in another year. So it's sometimes I wonder, what if I had her life? Yeah. I also wonder, you know, what if I hadn't left the UK? If I still lived in the UK and I never learned Chinese, then I think that I would be quite a different person. But let's not get too distracted by the what-ifs of life. Let's look at today's instructions and get started. Right, so we know that today's assignment is all about the subjunctive mood, the what-if mood. So what better opportunity than to do a little bit of magical fantasy writing? Here's what we're going to be doing.
如果呢有一天你在路上捡到了一个能力没有这么强，只能给你2个愿望的神灯，你会想要许什么愿望呢？今天呢我们就要写一篇文长至少120个单词的作文，文章呢必须分成2段，每一段呢各说明一个你想要许的愿望，并且解释你的原因。
Okay, I'm going to assume that none of us actually has a magic lamp. So the subjunctive mood is going to be very important in this article. So how do we form it, Sam?
好的，神灯呢应该不是这个随随便便就能捡到了，这种跟现在事实相反的状况，就是我们刚刚讲的一种假设语气。假设语气的时态变化呢，让很多同学头痛，但是呢偏偏又很爱考。不管是考说假如我中奖了，还是假如世界没有电，在大考里面的这种题目一直出现。我们今天呢就要一起来面对它了。假设语气啊，其实意思不难理解，就是我们中文说的这个如果怎么样就怎么样，或是说假如怎么样。但是呢要特别注意的就是它的动词时态变化很重要。我们呢可以简单的分成3种。第一种，如果说这个可能实现的假设，这个是可能会发生的，那呢我们就直接使用指数句。比方说呢 if you want to get good scores, practice more. OK, 这个事情是会发生的，有可能发生。如果你多练习，就会拿到好成绩。那所以呢，我们这个 want 跟后面的 practice 这个动词时态都是正常发挥就可以了。但是假如是在跟现在事实相反的假设，或者是呢和这个过去事实相反的假设，我们动词呢就会有变化了。今天在我们文章里面就是这个与现在事实相反的假设。与现在事实相反，你就记得若是陈述现在事实跟事实相反的事情，那呢我们就要用这个假设语气，我们时态就要倒退一格。比方说呢 if Tom had time, he would visit us. 因为 Tom 今天没来，他没有空，这个是事实。但是如果他有空，他会来。注意到呢，我们是跟现在事实相反 ，OK， 所以呢，我们时态倒退一格 ，Tom 应该是 has time， 我们就变成 Tom had time，OK， 因为他现在没有空 ，OK， 但是呢，我们说假如他有空，或是呢，像这一句了 ，If I were you, I would not quit。如果我是你呢，我就不会辞职了。但是啊，因为我不是你，所以这个就是一个跟现在事实不符的假设。注意到呢 be 动词的这个假设语气呢，它不止倒退一格，还要变形哦。在这个句型里面的 be 动词只能使用 were， OK。例如呢 if I were you, if she were me， 或是呢 if he were her， OK。注意到不能再用 was 了 ，OK。这个呢就是我们与现在事实的假设。那今天文章捡到神灯也是一样的概念，我们呢就马上一起来脑力激荡一下这篇文章该如何开始写作喽。
Okay, so we've got a pretty clear idea of how to form the subjunctive now. If I were, I would. But before we put it to use, let's brainstorm what is actually going to be in our story. You guys have done this before. You'll see on your magazine you've got a blank brainstorm template, and that's what we're going to be using. So first, think of your subject. If I found a magic lamp, or if I were to find a magic lamp, and write down any words or phrases that come to mind. I know the first one that I would put down would be to wish for something, or wishes. So you can't have a magic lamp if you're not going to have wishes, right? You need those. I'd also probably write rub, more cha. So if you rub a magic lamp, then the genie will come out and he might grant your wishes. He'll give you some wishes. And grant is like a fancy word we mean for give normally. So, the master granted the servant the afternoon off, for example.
Okay.
So often most of its usages are very old-fashioned, but for grant, we do use it with wishes. We do say grant wishes. So what would you put in your brainstorm? What other words would you add?
Yeah, well, I think about what my wish would be like and how I would be when they are granted. Let's say I'd wish for a lot of money and a big house and quitting my job. Yeah,
okay.
Maybe not.
You can quit your job on your own.
Yeah.
You don't need a wish for that one.
You kind of have to have a lot of money first. Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So I think we can think about some collocations now, and that's words that go well with other words. So try to do this with the words you've already got in your brainstorm. You'll find that it will really help broaden the vocabulary that you're using in your writing. So for example, we saw the word wish, right? It's a noun, so what verbs might work with wish? Well, we can make a wish, grant a wish, like we said earlier, or we can get a wish. Similarly, Sam mentioned money, didn't he? We could talk about earning money. We could talk about coming into money. So, suddenly obtaining money through chance. We could talk about stashing away money. So saving lots of money in a secret place. Or we could also think about words to describe the money, a vast sum of money, lots of money, spending money, money that we can, throw around, go shopping with, or disposable income, which is any money that you have, which you don't have to spend on your bills, your house, money that you can have fun with is your disposable income. Right, so now we've got all of our words laid out. Let's work with an outline for our story. For that, we're going to have to think about our topic sentences again. So remember, those are those sentences at the beginning that say, we've been talking about them a lot at English Digest, the sentences that say, what we're talking about. They lay out the subject of the paragraph. So let's check out the first one now. If I were given 2 wishes, I would first wish to understand all languages. Now, with 120 words, we are given space to write maybe 2 or 3 reasons. So what we can do now that we know our wish, I would like to understand all languages, is we can give 2 or 3 reasons in the paragraph why we think that this is a good wish.
Yes.
So, Sam, what reasons might we give for wanting to understand all languages?
好的，所以呢，在我们看到这个为什么想要学会所有语言的这个理由之前呢，我们先来提醒大家一下，在这个我们脑力激荡结束之后呢，记得一定要有一个 outline， 这个大纲呢可以帮助你等一下在实际写作的时候呢，不会遭奸起，不会走中了，你可以这个有一个道路可以追寻呢，你就不会写到了奇怪的地方。那记得呢，我们文章有没有提醒我们要分成几段？要分成2段呢？那分成2段呢，其实文章已经很好，它已经告诉你说，这个2段你不用苦恼了，你就是一段各写一个你想要实现的愿望。那这个分段怎么分呢？我们就可以参考一下我们范例文章它怎么写了。那在第一段落呢，他想要实现的第一个愿望就是呢，他想要学会所有的语言。那呢，除了讲出来这个主题句里面呢，直接带到说他有2个愿望。第一个愿望呢，就是想要听懂所有的语言。为什么想要听懂所有语言？我们在第一段落里面就要讲一下他这个许愿的理由哦。首先呢 ，It would make my English classes easier. Okay, so she or he probably not doing very well in her or his English classes.
Right.
再来呢，我们看到他第2个理由了。I could understand and get to know people from around the globe. Okay, 他可以听懂这个来自世界各地所有人的语言。Yeah, that's a better reason, I think.
Yeah, so good ones. There's one part of the wish helps you do better at school. Another one will help you make friends.
Yeah.
So we've got 2 reasons there. Okay, cool. So we need to think about our second wish now. That means that it's time for our second topic sentence. My second wish would be for money. That's an obvious one. Everyone likes money. So what reasons are we going to give for this wish?
好的，第二段呢很自然就接着说明我们第二个愿望跟他的理由。那第二个愿望呢就跟第一个不太一样，就是很显而易见，大家应该都喜欢，那就是跟钱有关了。OK， 首先呢他说I'd want to make my parents wealthy. Okay, that's very good. 再来，我们看到第二个理由呢，他说 They worry about money and work very hard. Okay, 他讲了一下他父母的状况。再来呢，第三个 With more money, life would be easier and happier.
I see. So it seems like our writer wants to give the money to his parents. It's not that he wants to keep it for himself.So because this is our last paragraph, it's also good to give our second wish a little bit of a conclusion as well. As this is just a short piece of writing, we can just add a little opinion or a bit of a hypothetical situation or example that justifies our reason. So the sample has this one. We could live in a bigger house without having to share rooms, which would be very nice, wouldn't it? That's a nice hypothetical situation that they can hope for in the future.
好，所以呢，虽然说我们文章很短了，只有120个单词，但是记得呢，我们一样要给他一个结论在这边呢，我们的作者就下了一个假设的结论期望现在的生活能有所改善，可以住到呢一个更大的房子里面，可以不用再跟其他人分享一个房间了。
You know, I think it's kind of funny that the person who wrote these examples didn't wish for more wishes. I know it said you can only have 2 wishes, but if it can give you anything, surely it can give you more wishes. Yeah, so that's what I would do. Then I could have everything that I wanted. I could wish for money, I could wish for fame, I could give my parents a big house, I could give myself a big house. We could all have big houses. I would have more wishes. Sam, would you wish for anything else?
Besides money, maybe something like an ability, like superpower, like from now on people believe whatever I say or people do whatever I told them to do.
Wow, that would be, you'd make a really good politician.
Yeah.
You could be president. You could be a terrible, terrible president. Okay, so now that we've got a rough idea of what we're working with here, let's have a look at the basic sample and then we'll come back and look at some words and phrases. Basic sample. If I found a magic lamp and were given 2 wishes, the first thing I'd wish for is the ability to understand all languages. For one thing, it would make my English classes a lot easier. For another, it would mean that I could understand everyone in the world, no matter where they came from or what language they spoke. This would help me get to know people from around the globe. My second wish would be for money. I don't mean for me, though, of course. Being able to buy more things would be nice. Instead, I wish I could make my parents wealthy. I know they often worry about money and that they both work very hard. If we had a little bit more, our lives would be easier and we'd all be a lot happier. We could live in a bigger house and I wouldn't have to share a room with my little brother. Okay, so there was a lot of good stuff that we could look at there. Firstly, we saw the construction for one thing, for another, which is a really good structure that we can use when we want to give multiple reasons to back up an argument or opinion. So for this passage, which is talking about reasons we would want certain wishes, it's very good because we're obviously in each paragraph we're giving more than one reason. So we can say for one, for another, or we could say for one thing, for another thing. So there's 2 ways of saying it.
好，所以呢，我们看到这个 for one thing 或是呢 for another thing，OK， 这个 thing 是可以省略的 ，for one for another 这个用法呢，就可以很有条理的讲出你的理由当我们写作呢，我们看到有很多理由需要条列、需要讲述的时候呢，我们通常很常用的，比方说像是你可以第一、第二、第三，那另外还有一个，比方说呢，这个 on one hand on the other hand， 你可以讲2种不一样的理由。那在这边呢 ，for one thing for another 呢，则是第一个原因呢，我们就是讲说 for one thing。第二个原因，另外一个理由呢，我们就说 for another thing。 OK， 比方说呢，我们可以看一下这个例句。I really like the new Marvel movie. For one thing, I've always been a big fan of Marvel Studios. For another thing, the new characters all seem very interesting. 我很喜欢这部新的漫威电影哦。一方面呢，我一直都是漫威的粉丝；另一方面呢，这些新角色呢看起来都很有趣。所以呢 ，for one, for another 就可以呢，在你的文章里面更有条理的来条列你的理由。
We could also say on the one hand or on the other hand as well. So let's move on to another phrase here, around the globe. So he said, this would help me get to know people from around the globe. So the globe basically means the world. Globe actually means a big sphere or spherical object. And as the Earth is a sphere, we can call it the globe. And we could actually replace around the globe as well with some other adverbs too if we wanted to talk about it more than once. So we could talk about something happening globally, so that comes from globe. We could talk about something happening internationally, which is the same. You know, I could make a lot of friends internationally or universally or across the map or from all four corners of the map. So these are, we're all talking about different phrases, adverbs that we can use to talk about things happening all across planet Earth. So these friends, they could speak English, they could speak Spanish, they could speak Hindi. I could speak all the languages, so I could make friends with all of them. I could have a lot of international, global friends.
好，所以呢，看到 globe 这个单词 globe 就是地球哦。你可以想象呢，地球是一个星球，所以就是一个 globe。globe 你就可以想象一下，大家这个冬天的时候有没有拿过一个水晶球，可以摇一摇，里面有这个雪花飘下来 ，snow globe 就是一个球体。所以呢，地球就是一个 globe， 所以我们说 around the globe 就是全世界哦。那呢，除了我们刚刚讲到很多，比方说 globally, internationally, universally 这些副词之外呢，你也可以说，比方说呢 around the world，OK， 这个也是世界各地，或是比方说像是 all over the world, all over the globe 这些呢字词都可以用来代换，就是表示世界各地。那另外呢 globe 这个字呢，它的形容词哦 global 呢就是全球的，比方说全球暖化，我们就会使用 global 这个形容词。
We also saw we could live in a bigger house. So one thing that's worth noting is that once we've established that we are talking in the subjunctive mood, we don't have to keep using past tense plus conditional over and over again. We don't have to say, if I wished we could, if I wished we could, if I wished we could. We can just keep using the conditional because we know the coulds and the woulds, because the reader can tell that we're still talking about a hypothetical situation just from the fact that we're using those words. So here's an example. If I were president of the US, I would make guns illegal. I would also try to help fix the wealth gap. So I would do two things there, and I didn't have to say were twice. I didn't have to use the past subjunctive twice to open the second conditional there. I just needed to use it once, and then we already knew that these are things that I would do if I was president.
好的 Seb 在这边提到了这个很重要的写法，我们先来帮大家复习一下我们刚刚讲说这个假设语气的用法。假设语气的用法呢，我们用 if 这个连接词，前面先讲了假如的这个条件，后面第二句子呢，我们会使用情态助动词，比方说像是 would 啊 could 这些过去式的这个来表示可能性，可能怎么样。那在这边呢 Seb 提到这个很重要的写法，就是当我们前面已经讲过假设语气，主题句已经带出来了，其实后面呢只要继续使用 would, could 这些这个过去式这些情态助动词，自然呢就可以让读者联想到你是在假设。我们不用一直把这个前提拿出来重复讲哦。比方说像刚刚我们提到这个很简单的例子，假如我是美国总统，我会让持有枪支是变成一件非法的事情。那后面呢，我们不用一直在重提说假如我是美国总统，我直接讲说 I would, I could, OK， 直接用这些情态助动词延续下去，就可以让读者知道说，其实我们整篇文章都是使用这个假设语气，在这个同一个前提之下来进行假设。
You know, Sam, one thing that I really like about this sample is the fact that it doesn't just talk about getting money. I know half of it is about money, but the fact that it talks about speaking all languages. I think one thing that listeners are going to be very tempted to do is just to write about, getting money, getting fast cars, getting big houses, is, the things that you would do, that you would first think
Yes.
of. And I think to make this writing assignment a little bit more interesting, try to avoid cliches. Now, a cliche is just something very, very expected. That's something that we hear so much that it's not very creative.
Yeah.
So we could say that my second wish would be for money. I would like to live in a big house. That's a little bit of a cliched way of writing. And the interesting one here is I would like to be able to speak more languages, because you think, oh, I didn't expect the writer to say that. And that makes the reading more interesting for other people. You'll also find when you avoid cliches for other things, just essay writing, even applications to universities, you will see that the people who are reading will be more interested in what you're saying because you're saying it in a new and different way. So when you write your next draft, say for your university application, read it back to yourself afterwards and think, is this something that I would expect someone to say? And if it is, how can I make it a little bit different? How can I change things a little bit? So we had a really good example of that here in the basic sample. All right, we still have another example to look at, the advanced sample. So let's have a read through that now. Advanced sample. Were I to discover a magic lamp that granted me wishes, I'd first wish for the ability to manipulate time. I never seem to have sufficient time to finish all my homework and still do other activities or even just get some well-earned rest. All I'd have to do is snap my fingers and I could stop or slow down the passage of time. I would also be able to accelerate through the boring parts of my life, such as waiting for buses to arrive. Besides being able to control time, I'd ask for the power to heal our planet. With this, I could make trash vanish, purify polluted air and water, and repair the damage humans have inflicted upon Earth over the centuries. I would use this gift to make the world a much better place for everyone to live. Future generations could also thrive without having to deal with the consequences of climate change. If only I could find a magic lamp right now. Okay, so there's a lot more we can look at here in the advanced sample. Again, the language obviously is a lot more difficult. Right, so the first thing, though, that I would point out is the very beginning of the very first sentence. Were I to discover a magic lamp? Right, so what we have there is a formal way of using the subjunctive form there. In formal writing, we can omit the if part of our what if and invert the subjunctive clause. So if I were to go somewhere becomes were I to go somewhere. So this immediately sounds a little bit more formal, it immediately sounds a little bit more official. For example, were I a superhero, I would dedicate my life to fighting crime.
在这个英文写作里面呢，比较正式的用法哦，你可以把假设语气里面的连接词 if 给省略了。那当你省略 if 之后呢，记得我们要形成一个倒装句哦，我们要把句中的这个 were 移至原本 if 的位置。比方说呢，像刚刚的例句，如果我是超级英雄，我会致力于打击犯罪。在这边呢，我们看到它开头呢 Were I a superhero？ 假如我是超级英雄，这个其实就是我们刚刚讲说的 If I were a superhero， 意思是一样的，只是在这边呢，它把 if 省略，变成一个倒装句呢，就让这整个句子变成是一个比较正式的用法。
We also saw the word manipulate as well, and that basically means to control something or to force it to be a certain way. Normally, it has a negative connotation. So, for example, my sister manipulated my dad by telling him lies about me. Now I'm grounded. Okay, so obviously what we're saying there is my sister knew that if she told my dad these lies, then he would get angry. She is controlling him, or she is making him behave in a certain way. She is manipulating him. So we can also turn manipulate into an adjective as well. We can talk about someone being manipulative. M-A-N-I-P-U-L-A-T-I-V-E. Manipulative. And that just means very controlling, and it's a very negative sounding word. It means someone who deliberately tries to change the way other people behave for their own benefit. We could also talk about someone being a control freak. Well, no one likes working with a control freak. Why? Because they love to be in control. They don't let you do anything on your own. Sam, have you ever had to work with any control freaks before?
Yeah, a lot of them.
Yeah.
They tend to be supervisors. Yeah.
They tend to be supervisors, right? People who abuse their power.
好，所以呢，我们在这边看到这个动词呢 manipulate 就是操纵影响。那通常呢都是不好的意思，比方说像刚刚的例句呢，我的姐妹呢她说谎来影响我爸，害我被禁足，这种影响操纵就是 manipulate。或是呢像是我们很常看到一些政客啦，或是富商有钱人呢，他们怎么样 manipulate the media， 他们操作这个媒体报道来影响媒体报道封锁负面消息等等，我们就可以使用 manipulate 这个动词。那另外我们刚刚看到这个形容词呢 manipulative 就是形容一个怎么样的人呢 control freak 就是他什么事情呢都要在他的掌控之中，什么事情不能够让大家自由发挥，企图去影响所有事情，这种人呢我们就可以叫他 control freak。
Exactly. So we're talking about manipulating time, and how does this person manipulate time? Well, he snaps his fingers, and that just means to click your fingers. It's just that sound there. So when we talk about snapping our fingers in this context, it sounds a little bit magical. We're saying that you do it very easily, literally just by clicking your fingers together. So other ways we could make magic happen would be maybe waving a magic wand, or we could utter a spell as well. Utter there just means to say something. Now, we could also look at the word inflict as well, which is in the second paragraph. The damage humans have inflicted upon Earth over the centuries. And that means to put someone or something in a horrible situation or to make them suffer. So we inflict something on someone's. Humans have inflicted much damage on Earth. This also personifies Earth. It makes Earth seem like a person, like a victim, someone who has been made to suffer. So here's another example. The king did not care about running his country, and he negligently inflicted a lot of pain on his people. So negligently there means to do something by not paying enough attention or not fulfilling your responsibilities.
好，所以我们看到 inflict 这个动词呢，就是使谁遭受或是承受什么样，使这个受词呢遭受痛苦例如呢，这个人类让地球受苦，或者是呢，像我们刚刚讲说这个不好的领导者呢，他使他的人民受苦等等，我们就可以使用这个动词 inflict。
Okay, so we've got through our two samples now. You've got all the information you need to write up your story. A quick recap for the what if or the subjunctive mood. We form it by using normally an if clause. If I were, with the past subjunctive, and then a second clause that uses a conditional like I would. So if I were a Superman, I would fly around the world, for example. There we go. Or we can invert it without the if. We can say, were I Superman, I would fly around the world as well. We also saw how we can put this into a fantastical story about finding magic lamps, and by using that brainstorming structure we showed you and the collocations, you should be able to put together a really, really great story with lots and lots of good vocabulary in it. So I guess the only question left now is, where are the magic lamps?
Yes, I have to find it.
Yes, exactly. I need some of those wishes. Even if it's just 2 wishes, I could do with 2 wishes. All right, well, that's all the time we've got for English Digest, unfortunately, but we will be back next month with lots more exciting writing projects, translation, and other tasks like that. So we will see you then. I'm Seb.
And I'm Sam.
And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.